Hello, everybody. This is the Service Guide Podcast. We're full of tips and tricks to help you in your home ownership and more. My name is Eric, and always joining me is Zach.
How's it going, guys?
And as always, we have a couple guests with us today, some in-house technicians. We have Tony.
Hello, everybody.
And Chuck.
What's going on?
All right. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
All right.
Good.
Cool. So obviously we talk about appliances and stuff like that, but we like to talk about other things, home ownership in general. But today we do have in-house techs right now, so we will be mostly talking about appliances and stuff like that. So we always start off a podcast with a fact of the day. Today's fact is flamethrowers are legal in 49 states.
We got to get that up to 50.
Hold up. I got to find out. We're going to do a guessing game off the cuff here.
Yeah, figure out which one it
one's
is.
Not. Do we have any guesses?
I'm going to say,
It can't be Florida.
Let's go with California, because it's California.
It's going to be it's going to be an oddball.
Yeah.
It's not going to be one of those. It's going to be I'm going to go, I don't know, somewhere in the Midwest like Ohio.
Oh, the fact is actually wrong. There's 2 states.
Ooh,
California is one of them. All right.
Zach.
Okay.
Zach. Very
Yes.
good, Zach.
The other one is on the East Coast.
Actually, the second
Washington,
one.
right? Oh, no,
East
not
Coast.
Washington.
East Coast.
Let's go with New York.
Close. Maryland.
Oh. Well, yeah. That
Which
doesn't-
actually makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't surprise me.
Maryland hates fun.
As strange as that is.
So yeah, there's our. So usually after that we move into our main topics today. Since we have Chuck and Tony, we are going to talk about some experiences they have. So yeah, I'll turn it over to Tony, and we can hear about his tale.
Hey, guys. Just actually today I just have some preventative maintenance tips for our customers. Occasionally we go into homes and they appear to be very clean and in order. And sometimes we find when we get underneath them that they've had visitors, mainly rodents that we see, which is not uncommon. I don't really know how, for as clean as people can be. I know that one of the preventative measures that's been helping is periodically cleaning underneath the oven, the refrigerator. Keep in mind these areas, rodents primarily, nice area for them. There's food and it's warm in most cases for them. Periodically sweeping underneath them, moving them out of the way, I think is going to help you prevent some damage to your home and mainly to the appliance. We do see a fair amount of that.
I had a customer over the weekend message me, and they were saying their broiler doesn't work, and there's a smell and smoke. And I was like, so I was sitting there, I'm like, well, Tony just told me that story last week. So I asked, did you have mice? And they're like, yeah, we did.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
That'll cook mouse.
That'll do it every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, it was exactly. I mean, funny you should say that. I mean, we had that customer, same thing, indicated that the oven was smoking. Made my way around to the back, and there was actually a mouse running around back there. So
Jumped out at you.
yeah, it's really
almost
and
got you in
again,
the
it's even the cleanest homes, it's really not about that because underneath these appliances and behind these panels and cabinets, no one sees what's going on in there, and it goes unnoticed in fact, it's gone unnoticed to most of the customers that we deal with. So,
Well, and that really speaks to a lot of how builders are building houses, right? I mean, we're building them right on the edge of farm fields and everything else.
And older homes, at least for me, because of the areas that I cover, older homes, I don't see mice specifically as often. I see... When I see it, I'll see evidence of roaches and that. Mice are not as common in the older homes. They're a lot more sealed up. The new construction, these new subdivisions,
Right.
they slap the places together and they're full of holes.
Right.
And you cannot keep a mouse out.
Right.
A mouse is going to get in.
Well, and they really, I mean, really, they are. Most of them are sitting on the edge of farm fields
Right
or
there.
edge of a forest or whatever. And so when it's cold like this, they're looking for a place to go. Yep. This is really the worst time of year for rodents and everything else. I've gone into stoves where you're looking at it and every bit of wiring is chewed up and there's just
The one
nothing
down
you
south
can do.
that we had to break open.
Yeah.
Because it chewed the door lock.
Yeah,
closed,
chewed the
the
door lock
unlock
shut.
closed.
Yeah, we couldn't get anywhere with that one.
Oh,
that was pretty
gross.
bad.
That was disgusting.
and the problem that you could have a fairly new appliance, but can be easily totaled in short order with the mice.
Only takes them a minute.
Yeah, they get in there and they start nesting immediately. They're not there just to hang out. I mean, it's a nice place with warmth and food,
Right.
but they're there for nesting, and that's one of the issues we run into. But again, preventative maintenance, sweeping, keeping up on that kind of stuff. Again, it's not not an everyday thing, but periodically.
Annually.
Slide that thing out and just give it a good little cleanup, and that's going to eliminate a lot of those issues. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the mice jumped on your shoulder.
The mouse. I was trying to get the mouse. That was the first time in all these years that I've actually had a live one come out. But you see evidence of them all over. But when I pulled the oven out, this one's running around back there. So.
Delightful.
I tried to reach back there and grab him, and he jumped up on the cord and then jumped up on my shoulder and then jumped into the kitchen where it just, I don't know where it went at that point, but we were there to work on the oven, so I wasn't really watching that. It was really, really exciting call. That was probably the most exciting in a while with so much action going on, mice running and.
Yeah.
I told you when I hired you that it was something different every day.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely was that. But again, those are some of the worst case scenarios. I mean,
we don't see it
mice
often.
in a house or that kind of stuff is not uncommon, but
a situation like that's a little bit rare.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario. However, but these problems started somewhere, and it's just this basic little sweeping up, vacuuming up, and that's not just the oven. That's, anything in the kitchen area. We try to stay on top of that just to keep your appliances running in tip-top shape. That's what we all want, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. So, Chuck, what do you have to bring to the table today?
All right. I could talk about rodents in an oven. I could talk about taking crap out of your pockets so you don't kill your washing machine. I could talk about don't have your buddy fix your leaking dishwasher and put some duct tape around the drain hose. But I think I'll tell you about the worst house I ever went into. She had called because the oven didn't light. So first thing I always go to check, and you run on autopilot when you hear these things enough. So go in and you check the same things. You go in, you're going to check the igniter first. Pull the bottom of the oven open, make sure that there's power to the igniter is not broken, it's not oxidized, etc. Check amp draw. So I go to disassemble the inside of her oven. I open the oven door, I'm kneeling down in front of it, and then she goes, and this is on me. This is what happens when you go into autopilot. So she says to me, she goes, well, this is broken too, and she points where the control panel should be in the backsplash. It's gone. There's just a hole. It does not exist. I don't know if somebody punched it and it disappeared, or if, and I'll tell you my suspicion. So I'm still kneeling on the floor in front of her oven, doors open. I pulled the racks out, and she asked how much the control board costs, and I go, well, that's the problem. I'm a freaking moron. I should have looked, but I go, that's the problem. The control board's not there. Your oven's never gonna light, right? So I grab my phone, and I'm just like this. If you're watching on the video, I'm kneeling on the floor. I'm just like this. I'm typing in the model number, and I see some movement in front of me. So I look up, my eyes pan up, and there are roaches crawling out of every opening inside of the oven. Yeah. They're crawling out from under the oven, and they're crawling out of the hole where the control board should be. And you try not to freak out in the house, but I kind of just, hey, I'm not getting any service in here. These old houses with the lead paint kind of blocks the sound. It's like, can we step outside for a minute? And I went home, and that was the day I stripped almost totally naked on my front porch. My wife opened the door and goes, what in the hell are you doing? And I said, if I tell you, you're not going to let me in. So this is what I was doing that night, babe. I was in the roach house.
Clean under your appliances. Very important.
Very
important.
I think the worst house I ever went in, you see all the movies and you see all that stuff, and you turn light on them and they scatter everywhere.
These didn't move. No, this oven today, that oven that day,
they were staying.
They just sat there looking at me like, what are you going to do to me?
I've had them crawling, and I mean crawl, you look and the control panel is just
disgusting.
No,
Yeah, a
it's
lot of
moving. Well, it's disgusting, but it's moving.
Oh.
Just literally moving. Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah,
That's
those
always fun.
Those are of course worst case scenarios,
Oh,
which is
absolutely.
not, that's probably one out of.
Yeah.
That's probably it. It's actually probably more like 1 out of 200, 300.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something
worst
like
case
that.
scenarios.
Yeah.
You don't see it often, but when you think about, we go into 8 to 10 houses a day,
Oh yeah.
and we walk out, and there's some of these where you can just drive through the neighborhood and point at it and go, "That's the house that is burned into my memory
Yeah.
forever."
Well, and for good or bad, houses get burned in our memory, right? Like
Yeah.
you could give me a customer name, and I
You
have
remember.
a clue.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a clue who the person is, but as soon as I drive by the house, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I changed
yeah.
an igniter. I had one of the worst drain pumps I've ever had. They gave me cookies for Christmas or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
I'll tell you, our
it just
customers,
that stands out to you.
our customers are incredibly nice to us, and I'd like to thank all of our customers that
Yes.
took care of us well through the holidays. They were more than they took great good care of us. We really appreciate it. So thank you for that, customers. Awesome job. Rough winter, but we're almost through, pushing through here. So almost
Can't
over.
wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
We'll be on to-
This is the first year that I was like, man,
Yeah.
I just cannot wait for winter to be
I just
over.
want one season for longer than 48 hours.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be up. Spring cleaning will be up in just a few weeks. So again, there might be a good opportunity at this time of the year. We're coming up on spring. Pull those appliances out. Give them a nice little clean under. Wipe underneath it. If you see some damage, give us a call. We can come over and see. Maybe
Step out for a minute.
get ahead of things before they get too bad or unrepairable.
So we lost our other host, our other guest.
We're middle of the workday
This-
here, so we got people running from
The
phones to
show
phones.
has just dissolved into chaos. So if you're listening on the podcast, our other host Eric and our other guest Chuck just disappeared on us. So it's just Tony and I sitting here doing a little bit of Facebook Live. So Tony, you are our newest guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How do you like it?
I actually love it. I actually really enjoy coming to work here. I was not told to say that.
I don't
No,
pay these
hey,
guys to say
there's-
this stuff.
There's not anybody holding it.
Although Chuck was just holding a finger
in all
gun
honesty,
to
though,
Tony's head.
work is work. However, our customers really make my day, really move by so much easier. Our customers are really great. Rarely run into issues with things, but coming to work and working with our customers really is what gets me back here each day. The customer base is really awesome here. I've worked in other areas where that's not the case, but I'll tell you, our customers are great, and we really appreciate it.
How about you, Chuck? What do you? How do you like the job?
I
You're
like
the
what I
second
do.
newest guy. Yeah.
I like what I do. I like, it's something different every day. The customers are generally pretty good. I'd say 99% are always great.
Yeah.
You very rarely that you get a stinker. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I like what I do. I like helping people.
Right.
I like when even that house with the roach oven. It's one of those where it's just like everybody deserves a hot meal.
Right.
Everybody should be able to make a hot meal. That one at least, you guys diplomatically took that away from me because I was going to go back in a Tyvek suit. But, yeah, I mean, even that, as bad as those situations are, even when you kind of get a real peach.
Yeah, well,
Somebody you just want to
the
say,
thing-
bless
the thing
your
is,
heart.
with these appliances, people aren't, you don't think about these appliances
Yeah.
until they go down, and now we don't have clothes for work. The kids
We
don't
don't-
have school.
yeah, we don't
now
realize-
now they become a huge issue, and so the appliances are really not on their radar until they go down, and that's when
You take them for granted.
yeah.
You
Well-
don't realize how badly we need these things until they cease to work.
And I want to take a minute and brag on you guys. I mean, that's really the culture of this company here. And culture, it gets such a negative connotation, right? I mean, it's kind of a buzzword in business or whatever. But really, the culture here is we're here to serve people. to love people, and like we do everything that we can to serve our customers the best that we can, and that really starts with Chuck and Tony, and I'm out on the road too, but those guys are really the front face of the company, and Eric over there too. He handles a lot on the phone and a lot on the internet. He really does a good job handling that stuff, and without you guys, this isn't possible. So it's great to be able to brag on you guys.
And also, who is not joining us today is our incredible office staff.
Oh yeah, the girls are amazing.
The ladies in the office really.
They're saints.
They make my day. They roll out my day so nicely, the way they route accordingly with our customers. So
and they
they're
really
not here
put up
today.
with our
they're
shenanigans.
Not with us live here
I was going to say,
but we're just going to give them a big thanks, because without them, our days would be a lot longer. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah,
great
Lynn,
job, guys.
Lynn and Lisa are
Gals.
great.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of patience to be able to deal with 4 guys that are just
going in every direction.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
I worked with truckers
every
for
direction.
I worked with truckers for a significant portion of my adult life, so that they're able to put up with me on the phone.
Yeah.
Uncensored is fantastic. Hats off to them.
All right, well, so now we have Chuck and Eric are both back, and so our show is starting to form back into some semblance of a show again.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it goes in this business. So
busy day.
So we have a couple segments that we're going to be doing kind of regularly. One of them is called Is It Time? So in this segment, we talk about one of our customers or fans who has a question about, is it time to replace blank appliance? So everybody here knows how this is going to go. So somebody called in with a dishwasher, very loud and noisy, wants to know if it's worth repair. So this one, the model number on this one is 5 digits long.
Old.
So immediately we're like,
Time. Probably.
It's time.
it
Probably
is
a good
definitely
candidate.
time.
The old-
Nah, not necessarily. But
Well, it depends on the item too. An old washing machine or an old dryer, generally keep them.
Yeah, they just
depends on the
What
dishwasher.
Depends on what it is.
It depends on the
Yeah.
dishwasher too.
Yeah.
You guys have not had the pleasure of seeing one of these, but one of the old. Well, you may have seen it, Tony, just because of the parts business, but the old belt-driven dishwashers.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
the round
Yeah.
the Maytag one. Yeah, that's ancient.
You know, if
There's
it's
a lot of
just
them out there. They still work.
yeah, if it's just the belts on that, it's a worthwhile fix. But
Yeah.
you get too deep into that, it's not worth it.
I had a lady in Joliet here. Her entire kitchen was the old steel cabinets. So post-war, late 40s,
Yeah.
early
with
50s.
steel cabinets.
The original old steel cabinets, and they were
So was
painted
that okay, stop.
Yeah.
That was a thing, right?
Yes.
So when was that?
post-war, late 40s, early 50s.
Just cheaper? Or was
Modular.
it like a...
It was an early attempt at modularity where they were built, as near as I've been able to, just reading about them. I'm no expert by any means, but they were designed. Actually, a side tangent. Sales reps would carry around a briefcase that opened up, and it was a kitchen. It had little tiny metal. You had a table and chairs. You had a sink. You had all the cabinets, and it was magnetic.
So it was like a dollhouse and a...
So they could walk
Okay.
into your house in the days of door-to-door salesmen, set everything up in your kitchen, and go, look, here's what, we can recreate your kitchen inside this briefcase, and you can see what your cabinets are going to look like.
Right.
That was actually kind of cool.
Well, and that was, really post World War II.
Yeah,
which is a lot
you had
nicer,
a lot of guys coming back to families and trying to start a family, and so that's really where the modular houses and there's
Post-war construction boom.
there's entire neighborhoods in Lockport, Joliet, all that stuff that they're slab houses. They were they were modular houses put on a slab just as quickly as they could because there was so
You see
much
how
of an influx
when you go into the
coming back.
basements, going down the stairs, you have to literally duck
Yeah.
to make it under, and the ceilings are, God, they got to be only
Yeah.
7 feet, maybe
Yeah,
or
7,
6
8
and a
feet,
half.
some of them.
Yeah.
It's really Yeah.
I've been in houses like that. I've never seen the steel cabinets, though. That's
The steel
interesting.
cabinets are cool. My neighbors,
I've seen them in the basements, the steel cabinets. They probably moved them down.
So this lady still had them in her kitchen. And you know what else she still had in her kitchen with it? The original built-in KitchenAid dishwasher.
Oh wow.
That was just a tiny drawer that would
Yeah.
fit like a half dozen plates and
Yeah.
some silverware.
I-
You can wash that night's.
I see that a
dinner
lot
dishes.
with customers. They have like either their parents or some of
Yeah.
their loved ones' old appliance there
Well, this is
that
more than
literally
an old
still works.
This
That
was-
we're working on the one that they have. You know,
more
it's
than
like-
an old appliance that's sitting in the corner. This was built into the cabinets.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know it was a dishwasher, you'd never know it was there. It was so cool to actually see it.
Yeah,
Because we don't get to see that stuff.
for my
anymore,
many
you know?
years in the parts business, I see a lot of that, and some of those customers were really in for it in terms of replacing that because of the hole
Yeah,
that leaves.
everything was
You know,
built
that
in.
hole is
I mean, that's one of the things that we really say in this industry. Anytime you do a built-in appliance, they got you.
Yeah.
they really do.
They got you.
It's usually like, you know, sometimes
The
you
whole
can't
to-
match the cabinet,
Right.
so now you're into all new cabinets.
Yeah.
Right.
So
This is why built-in ovens are
You-
not great.
yeah, well, I mean,
I'm
the
not a
older
fan.
ones, the ones of yesteryear are there's so much, you know.
Oddball sizes.
I mean, there was a time when we got our some of our customers remember the days when the ovens came from the gas company. You didn't buy them in a store. You only got
And the
a
gas
stove.
company was the one that repaired them too.
Yeah, gas company. So they've come a long way. When believe me, they're still out there, and it's really fun to see. From being a lot of years in the business, you come out and you see some of these appliances that are still there.
Yeah.
You know, in some working order, and you know, you look at some of the appliances of today versus the one that's standing in the same spot for 40 years, and we're working on the one that's 2 or 3 years old, and it's
Well, it's a trip. Like
Makes you think.
it's kind of it's going from one end to the other, whether we're going to repair it or not.
We go into some of these houses and they're like that older dishwasher, older appliance. They want to know if it's worth fixing, and it's not a standard yes or no answer. There's too many variables. If you got a 30-year-old refrigerator, that might be worth fixing.
Yeah,
Because
The old
the
ones
new
are-
ones aren't going to last 30
right.
years.
The,
you know?
the older appliances, I mean, if you're considering calling us or you're not sure, I mean, not all of them are going to be thrown out. There's a large percentage of them older ones, like Chuck was saying, that are repairable.
Depends on
You
parts,
know.
though. That's the
Right.
key.
Right. I
Parts
mean, it
availability.
depends on what direction the customer wants to go in most cases because of, pricing and all that. But don't count it out until we
Right.
check it out. I
It's
wouldn't
not a
count it
blanket
out.
no.
Yeah,
And
don't count
and
it
that's
out.
one of the things that I'm really proud of us on is that we really drill into that and we go to the last extent. Eric and I just had a customer that we did everything we could, and he ended up ordering a burner tube off of eBay. It's not something that we're willing to do because we can't warranty it, but we're willing to put it in for him if he wants to. But I reached out to every old timer that I knew to see if we could get that burner, and I reached out to a couple of the groups that we're a part of, and just really trying to track down that part. And we really do go to that extent for every customer,
Well, I
really.
mean,
So if we're telling you, it's not a repairable item, it's not it's an NLA item, a no longer available item. Like we've done all the research on it.
Yeah, we're not saying we make more money if we fix your item.
Right.
If we're telling you either it's not worth putting the money into or the parts are not available, we're not doing it to weasel out of getting more money.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
doing it because we're trying to be honest with you guys.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I like about that here is we're if it's going to cost $500 to fix, you're more than likely going to get a story from us saying probably not a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
We are a company, or we will oblige. However, doing this repair may not be in your best interest.
Right.
And that's
And
what's-
it's not because the repair is hard or something. We just don't have a crystal ball sitting there knowing what's going to happen 5 months later, as far as what else might break on it.
We get asked a lot, especially
Yeah.
refrigerators. I get it a lot where you check, there's an issue where the start windings are wearing out on the compressor. The resistance readings are too high, and you tell them, it's not worth putting more money into fixing this. We're not going to replace the compressor because you're looking at $1,000 bill
On a 10-year-old fridge.
on a 10-year-old fridge that you wouldn't get $50 for on
Right.
Craigslist.
You got all the broken shelves
Yeah.
and
But it's like you said, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell you this
Right.
is going to last 6 days or this is going to last 6 years. We don't know.
Right.
But if we're telling you it's not worth putting money into, run it till it dies. Run it till it dies.
right.
All right. So specifically for that person, those parts were no longer available. The lookup those old
Microfiche.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Microfiche. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I start. Yeah, I remember the days of Microfiche.
Yeah.
That was.
We have one vendor in the area that still has the Microfiche machine
Really?
sitting around.
I
just
came
in
out
case.
of parts. Off-highway equipment.
I don't even know if I could navigate through those.
It's
anymore.
hard.
I've just gotten so
It's hard.
away from that. But I mean, keep it one time. That's long before in the parts business that we had the
That's the way they did it.
controlled
So
inventory.
I-
Microfiche.
So it's a little.
Parts
It's like a
cards
little
and a card
projector
catalog, like
essentially, right? With
Yeah.
parts cards.
I'm sorry.
Microfiche?
It's just like a little projector screen.
It's
Oh,
not even
Microfiche.
price cards. It's
Oh no, the Microfiche is
it's
the
just
whole
it's
the whole
the-
manual on
Yeah.
Microfiche.
So imagine
what
take
you see on the computer.
yeah, and I get that, but like
That's-
the device
the
itself.
device that reads it. So
It's a
basically,
big
your
projector.
Microfiche card is like the size of an index card generally. They would put it in, and then yes, it's a magnifier.
Okay.
It's a
And
glorified
projector,
magnifier
yeah.
onto a screen in front of you. It's just a light under the card that's translucent.
and it never
shoots the image
failed
up.
to be missing the one out of the 1,000 cards
Yep.
Right.
you need.
Yep.
That was
Right.
usually
Yeah.
what we this is 1,000 Microfiche cards to this set.
If you look on our if you
So
if you're listening to this and you're a service technician and you look at that online lookup on Marcone, Sunberg, any of the vendors that you're looking at where you actually see those individual cards that are, so when we look this up, we're seeing individual tags and it says body section, frame section, da da da. Well, if you go into some of the old school ones like a DG 612 or something crazy like that, they literally scanned
Yeah.
the
The
microfiche
microfiche.
Yeah.
and digitized it.
Yeah.
But that's
The quality
that's
is so low. You're like,
that's really where the parts lookup came from, right?
Yeah.
Was
That's all
from
we had.
that microfiche,
Yeah.
and so they kind of mirrored that, modeled that when they did these online lookups for us, and it works most of the time.
yeah.
So do the vendors, not the vendors, the manufacturers?
The manufacturers would send
produce 'em?
cards to all of the vendors, and
But that was expensive.
I'm sure
Maybe.
That was the only way back in. I mean,
that was it.
That was
Back
It
it,
was
in
yeah.
the
cheaper
day-
than printing a thick, heavy parts catalog.
they would send
Gotcha.
out monthly updates, more cards. So you had
So
to
did
go
you have
through
like
there.
shelves or like
It was like a library.
Yeah, think of a
Uh-huh.
library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
index set,
and
like
then
index
Dewey
cards?
Decimal System.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but it was
Yeah.
full of these.
Yeah.
It was full of these index
And then
cards.
they would send you every month. They would send you the update, so you would have to literally go in there, pull that card, insert this card,
Yeah.
throw that one out.
Oh, really? Threw them
Yeah.
out? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I worked at Sunberg, you had a set of them somewhere, and you're like, "Oh, look at these." And I was like, "Oh, cool," but I didn't. I was like wondering like
Yeah,
how many
it's like-
thousands of those
oh
things you
my
had.
God.
Like,
yeah, just
I
it's
couldn't
way
imagine.
past thousands. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's every manufacturer just had literally several indexing boxes. Just every model was a
card or two.
yeah,
at
it was
least.
a set of cards, and
Gotcha.
then they would send a note saying this one's we remove that card to stick this one in its place. So the technology that we're using today has made technicians' life so much
We've
easier.
gone from that to
yeah,
everything is here now.
Yeah.
We do everything on our phones.
Yeah.
Parts lookup, billing,
manuals,
parts ordering,
which
everything is all on here.
it's works out nice for us. For I mean, it's such a faster pace. We can get customers parts identified, ordered, and it facilitates things so much easier when it's like that. But
yeah,
definitely.
gotcha. Oh, we'll just do one. We'll just do one lie, Zach,
Okay.
if you want.
Go ahead.
So okay, so next segment is gonna be one story and for this time one tale, where Zach and I come up with a couple of stories, anecdotes, whatever,
Oh,
for our
man.
guests to. I'll get it eventually.
I'll never give you the antidote.
I know. So Zach, you're gonna tell us two stories essentially. One is a truth and one's a lie. It's up to Zach or up to Chuck and Tony to figure out which one is true.
Do I
And
need
which
my,
one is
Do I
false?
need my electrical meter?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, it's you'll be
What
okay.
is this, Scientology? You're going to bust out your e-meter and
This
this is lying?
Polygraph.
I'm
Oh,
just,
God, we're going to get sued
By the way,
for
we
that.
do this every week, so if we don't pass, you don't see us.
I'm just waiting for Eric to send me over the
Oh.
file he was supposed to send me.
Wait, you didn't make a lie at all? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hold up. I'll think of one. You guys talk about something else.
He's killing me.
We're winging it right here.
He's killing me.
We're doing it live.
I like these live. These are not. I like this. This is gonna be good for our customers.
Can you put your truth in there so I have a?
Tell us your truth.
Sure. It really is just this chaotic all the time.
Yeah, you know.
Free form is nice.
Yeah.
Our days are structured enough. This is good.
I'm gonna put it in Telegram
fun.
for you.
Okay, that's fine. So, guys, how are your guys' weekend?
Too short.
I'm just giving you
Very
3
good.
words, Eric, because I think I've
Very
told
good
you
weekend.
this.
I'm not kidding you. I
Right.
probably spent 8 hours yesterday cleaning my kitchen.
Yeah,
Seasonal depression's fun.
it's
And I walk in, I look at my
it's this
kitchen,
time
I'm
of
like,
the
I
year.
cannot believe I live
what
like
do you left
this.
to do?
Yeah. That was after our call this morning. I was just a few blocks from my house. I forgot it was garbage day. I should have taken a picture. It's incredible how much trash I piled out there today.
It happened. When we had that -50 a couple weeks back and they didn't take trash or recycling, oh my gosh, it was horrendous. It was horrendous.
Kind of a wake up call to look out there and see how much
Yeah, one
Right.
day.
how much
No
we
garbage.
consume.
Right?
Yeah,
We just-
one day.
Oh,
It doesn't show up.
Right.
You're like, where did I put the rest of this?
so I got to run to Target today and get another garbage can. We're going to set up recycling and trash and start teaching the kids the difference.
Nice. Yeah. So my little girl she's very inquisitive, right? She's 3 years old, and so she's her mind is just fantastic. And so she always wants to watch videos on Daddy's phone, and that's fun. She's obsessed with car wash videos right now. She likes watching the promo videos and
The commercials or like what?
No, like literally, if search car wash video on YouTube
Okay, so let me
and pull
just-
up a video, right? And so there's
Dash cams?
this company, Christ, out of Germany or whatever, and they do a ton of promo videos. They're like a large manufacturer for these quick wash style washes.
Sales
or like,
videos.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
send it. Yeah, okay.
So she every time one of the Christ videos comes on, she's just like,
See, you had me worried that there was like a subset of YouTube that's just people with dash cams driving through car
reviewing
washes,
car
being
washes.
like, "Look at this! The blowers are great."
oh my gosh,
Untapped
no.
market we need to get into.
But yeah, so, and then we'll end up down a rabbit hole, right? And so, I mean, it's very easy for me to end up down a rabbit hole. My guys are sitting here laughing at me because this is just like, this always happens.
Do you want to see my open Wikipedia tabs right now?
No, because it's, yeah. So we're watching this video on car shredding, and it's like these shredders, they're shredding cars, and then there's some where they're like smashing cars, and there's some where they're shredding fridges and all the tires and all this
Those are
other stuff.
awesome.
And what are they doing, Daddy? Well, baby girl, they're recycling. Like, you see how they're separating it out, and, they're taking the metal and the plastic, and, they're going to recycle. What is recycling? Well, they take this, and so I'm explaining recycling to a 3-year-old. But it was a lot of fun, like, just to see that joy in her, and like, oh, okay, Daddy's teaching me something new. That's a lot of fun.
You want inquisitive kids? You want to hear what Charlie said to me this morning?
No, no.
What's is that the big bowl of
No,
cheese
not the big ball of
The
cheese
biggest
balls.
bowl in
Is that good enough, Zach?
Menards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't
So-
even see them.
Charlie this morning, every once in a while, my kid now is he's 4 and he's focused on danger. Everything he always asks if something's dangerous. Everything,
Okay.
Dada, is this dangerous?
Danger.
Well, this morning we're getting ready to leave the house, and out of nowhere, he's walking through the kitchen. He just goes, "Dada, are aliens dangerous?" And I'm like, all right, this came out of nowhere. So I'm telling him about like Stephen Hawking. He was afraid of, given how humans have, more advanced civilizations have responded to contact with less advanced civilizations. Like, we don't
I
have
saw
a good
your
track
Facebook
record
post
of
on
treating
this.
people well. And then there's like, Star Trek was like a utopian society in the future that's going around introducing technology to planets that are ready for it. And then he finishes by going, "Yeah, Dada, someday we leave this planet." And I go, "What the hell do you know that I don't?"
That's awesome.
Oh
I just
my
imagine
gosh.
Chuck in there with like Charlie Day with the strings all over them.
Oh, boy.
Pepe Sylvia, I got boxes full of Pepe.
All right, so
right, anyway.
since we were unprepared, it's going to be a truth and a lie today. So I am at a house, and the complaint is the dryer will not dry. That happens quite often. We go through our normal checks, and like, okay, everything's working. Disconnected the vent. Okay, there's a bird's nest. All right, no big deal. You're gonna have to have your vent clean. You have a bird. As I'm sitting there, I'm going in there. It's still not drying with the vent disconnected. Oh, this isn't gonna be good. So I take the dryer further apart. Stuck in the blower housing, a nice crispy fried bird. You haven't smelled a bird that has been cooked by a dryer?
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's
I
an
would definitely
experience.
say that's
Bird jerky. I'm into it. What else you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd try that.
It's interesting, that's for sure. So and now the next story. Again, a dryer. I'm following a theme here. Dryer. So I arrive at a house, and the complaint is my dryer won't dry. So I start tearing stuff apart, and I go through all the checks again. Check the vent. Vent is 100% clear. And I'm like, okay. And this is a Samsung. Okay, so we know how much we have to do to tear apart a Samsung.
Crowd
and if you don't know,
technician favorite.
yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. I actually like the way the Samsung dryers come apart.
That's
but
actually true.
you
It
do
really
have
is.
to still
It's a
take
lot,
a lot of panels apart, a lot of screws, stuff like that. So I really, I have everything apart, and I'm down to the bulkhead, and I'm like, what is this? I just see like this string hanging out. Like, what is going on here? All right, fine. So I take the bulkhead off. The way the Samsungs are, there's a blower towards the front left side, and the bulkhead mashes up to that, and then there's a panel over top of that that kind of protects the blower wheel. And I see red, and I'm like, what is this? So I go and I take the metal panel off, and there's a thong stuck in the blower wheel.
Yep. Small articles of
See, the
clothing
problem is that both
constantly.
of those could be true.
The best part of that particular story is I finish everything. Everything's working good. I go to tell the customer what's going on, and she says to me, so what was wrong with the dryer? And in my hand I have my 12-inch pliers, and I'm just holding up this little article of clothing, and I said, this thong was stuck in the blower wheel, and I'm telling you, this Hispanic woman turned as red as a fire extinguisher, as red as that thong that I was holding in my pliers.
So it very well might have been hers.
Yeah. So,
Hey, good for
Yeah,
her. You know,
that's,
still getting it at her age.
That's,
Good job. Rock it, lady.
so which was the truth and which was the lie?
See, I already know which was true because I've
Well,
heard this one
I
before.
would say, I would say that the underwear is probably. I would say that's probably true.
Yeah, the underwear is
The
true
underwear
one.
is definitely the true story.
So
She
that.
really did. I mean, I'm telling you, this woman turned a shade of red I have never seen.
Well, most
Something-
most of our customers
Are we
don't let
talking
their
like
they don't let
cranberry
their
juice?
I'm
They
saying
don't-
that fire
they don't let
extinguisher
their-
that's hanging on our wall, she was as red as that. She
is
went
red.
from like
tan
your
to-
typical
yeah.
very tan
Yeah.
Hispanic woman to, I'm not kidding,
as an
her
apple.
skin was as the color of that fire extinguisher. She
That's
was
was
that
awkward.
was
Yeah.
it was very awkward for both of us, and we just kind of laughed and shrugged it off. She signed
Like,
the
I'm going-
paperwork
I'm
and I
leaving
left.
now.
Hold
See you
on.
later.
For any of our listeners, you have to remember, you have to realize that there are no secrets from your appliance guy. We know everything about your life. If we pull either
the dryer.
the bulkhead of your dryer apart and we find all the crap that's clogged up in there, or we pull your filter out of your washing machine and we find all the crap that's in there. There are no secrets from us. We know everything about you.
Chuck, were
music-
you
we-
were you the technician that was with me on that Bosch dryer? I don't remember if it was you or if it was John.
Might have been.
So we go to work on a dryer, and apparently these people had just moved in. They were the new homeowners, and
that's right, yeah.
it's a no dry call on a Bosch dryer. And we open this dryer, and I am not kidding you. We got pelted with like 200 guitar picks.
Oh, the
Yep.
guitar
I
picks.
remember
like
that one.
200 guitar. I mean, it was
just
in
spraying them out.
everywhere.
Guitar picks are a dryer favorite.
And-
So we know you musicians out there. You better believe it.
So-
Well, this was the good
Absolutely.
part.
So I go out there and I'm like, so I take it you guys are musicians, and she goes, we just moved into this house.
There were
No
easily.
musicians here.
You know how big a guitar pick
Oh,
is? There
God.
were 2 handfuls of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen
There
that
were
so many
empty
times.
your pockets.
Yeah. I have a good friend, and she may or may not end up watching this eventually. Their entire family is musical, and I mean everything. They run the gamut from saxophone to guitar. Guitar is huge in their house, and so every time I go to clean either their washer or their dryer, whether I'm changing coils or whatever, it's
picks.
literally like there's like 100 picks coming out of either machine whenever I do it, and they just laugh. I mean, we all kind of laugh about it because we know it's going to happen.
I think dryers above all appliances is where we,
Tell
I think
us
we
the
see.
black hole.
Yeah, we see the most of how the mechanics we find tools and screws and hardware.
So
I've seen golf tees too.
Golf tees?
I want
yeah.
I still cannot figure out how a golf tee can pass
I
through
can
the
see it.
tub and end
the
up
tub.
jammed into a drain pump.
Well, we had
I've had a
Chuck,
few.
we had
I've had a few
pens.
of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but pens
We're
are a pretty
trying to
consistent.
figure out how it
I mean,
can
they're a
work.
pretty consistent size, diameter,
Yeah, but
all the
how does it
way,
get
like
through
a
the
golf
wash tub?
tee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. How's it
Yeah.
getting through the wash tub?
So
underwire too. Underwire is a
That
bad one.
was I was about to
Underwires.
say that we find bra under. If you ever get a weird
grinding.
if you have especially a front load washer, if you spin it and it sounds like a baseball card in the spokes of your bike or like the Wheel of Fortune
Probably
wheel.
underwire.
It's the underwire from a bra, guaranteed.
Lingerie bags
Use a
are your
lingerie
friend.
bag.
Top load washers as well. People don't think about it, but socks, like baby socks, even women's short socks, right,
The small
will
articles, yeah.
end up in a drain pump.
I had one on Friday. She had the F51 error, which is the rotor positions. It could be the rotor position sensor. I opened it up. Yeah, it was corroded, so I swapped the RPS, and it was still not going right. I opened the top, I pulled the tub ring off, and it was a big washcloth jammed between the tubs.
Yep.
And it was shredded, so it had been in there for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's everything gets into your washer,
Yeah,
man.
the appliances do eat things.
We had a call the other day. The customer didn't empty their pockets, and 17 cents cost them $200 because I had to tear everything apart to be able to get the change unjammed.
One man up north took the kick plate off his dryer. It sounded like a slot machine paying out.
Yeah.
There were probably, I don't know, a coffee can worth of money in there. I mean, it was a sizable amount of change. And then all the lint. It looked like somebody had been saving the lint and just packing it into the body of this dryer. How he did not have a house fire, I will never understand.
Well, we're at time, so that was great
so
to
it's
have
good.
you guys. It was enjoyable today. And
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We'll
for having
we'll be
technicians
doing
up
this
there.
more.
Thank
but
you, everybody.
We
It
want to
was
thank
nice,
you guys. Yep.
Have you guys join us. Thank you very much.
Eric, any
So-
thoughts in closing?
Well, two things. You started to tell that bird story. That actually did happen with John and I.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyways,
I've had the
I was
the
talking like
bird's
in
nest.
the drum itself.
Yeah.
Like you open the door and a bird flies out. Or
Yeah.
something. That's what I was thinking. But you were like in the blower. I was like,
possible.
that
I mean,
happened
you know,
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sadly, I could see that happening. That's not out
Yeah.
of the realm
check
of
your
possibilities.
check that, and the reason these things happen. Some
The
covers
louvers.
don't realize that throughout the winter, sometimes the ice breaks those louver doors on your dryer vent outside, and as soon as that opens,
My
wow,
all-time favorite call I've ever gone on. I'm at this house, and the complaint again, dryer won't dry, right? So I take the vent off, and it's cycling perfectly. I mean, it's cycling beautifully. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to. So I'm like, okay, well, the vent is blocked. I can't see through the vent or whatever, so I'm going to go outside and try and check it. Well, the fence is like nailed shut with a 4x4.
I remember
Okay,
this
so I can't get into the backyard, so I go kind of to the neighbor's yard and I peek my head up and over. They took a 4x4 and pinned the louvers shut.
oh yeah, people put their grills up against it. You know, just
No,
not
I mean, they
unknowingly.
No, they did this intentionally.
They did this intentionally because she said, well, we were worried about animals, so we held it shut with a 4x4. And I said, and let me guess, it stopped drying about the same time. Well, yeah. I go, well, yeah.
Cause and effect, people.
That's how that works. So,
Yeah. Watch your louvers for sure.
for sure, especially this time of year. All right.
You made it this far. You're awesome, and thank you for your support. For listening to us ramble for about an hour here. Thanks for Tony and Chuck for joining us as always. We will be back next week with guests and some more things to learn. So thanks everybody. Have a good week.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.